the man, the myth, the legend that is Joe Schad. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
Not bad, Big O. It's 8:30 out here on the left coast, and I certainly wouldn't be awake if it wasn't for Orlando and the Hijinks Sports Grill Sports Report. So if I'm a little raspy, just know I woke up for you.
Yeah, well, listen, you woke up for us, for all of us, and we appreciate it all over the world because you got to understand that, Joe. You got people watching you all over the world. They could be in Mexico, they could be in Malaysia, they could be in Canada, in Portugal, they could be in London. They're all over the place, man. It's a beautiful thing. You're doing some good stuff for Dolphin fans all over the world. So let me ask you something. What kind of Eric Fisher are they getting, and how much do you like that move?
Well, Fisher is a former Pro Bowl tackle who is a very solid player and certainly adds depth and experience and certainly a little bit of a insurance policy for Teron Armstead. I was a little concerned. Fisher, listen, he hasn't practiced or played in a long time, and I don't think he's going to play this week unless absolutely necessary. Maybe he's not even active. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I like it as an insurance policy. I think he's primarily the left tackle insurance policy, but he can play right tackle if absolutely necessary. And then I was a little, concerned by what I saw from Armstead yesterday. He talked about how the toe injury is going to hurt him all year, and how he is putting himself at risk if he tries to play through the pectoral injury, but he's been working with a brace. And he thinks that with some specific range of motion and technique, he can reduce the chances of a full tear. I don't know. It's tough, right? Because you don't want to see the guy hurt himself worse.
Right.
And you want to give him every chance
the problem
to
is
play
we don't
later in
know
the
how
season.
bad we don't know how bad the tear is, Joe. And in my history at least, I've watched guys play with the harness and be successful with it and last throughout the year. Of course, they're not themselves, but they become still serviceable because great players can do those kind of things. So the harness also limits your movement too, to try and avoid you tearing that thing completely. So I've seen offensive linemen or D linemen actually play with harnesses for the remainder of seasons. So it can be done. And you're right. The concern is, could he tear it all the way, and then it just becomes a long rehab process, and you're probably losing him maybe for parts of next year too in the whole deal. But that's the whole question. We don't know how bad that tear is. That maybe it is still worth the gamble, and that's where you and I will never know. We'll kind of just find out. Look at the toe injury. The toe injury might have put a lot of people on the shelf, and yet somehow or another, he finds a way to play every damn week, bro, and play pretty well too.
You have to respect this guy for being a warrior.
Yeah,
And
man.
for wanting to play. And he's played through a lot of injuries. He said, listen, one day I'll reveal the list of all the injuries I've played through. And some people, will knock him for that. Will say, well, you're injury prone. You're always hurt. You've missed a number of games. But we also have to give him credit for trying to play. I just like the person and respect his impact on
He
the
is cool.
entire offense and offensive line. And so, I'm a human being. He's a human being. I worry for him. I want not
Sure.
only what's best for the Dolphins on Sunday, but what's best for the Dolphins against the Bills. What's best for the Dolphins against the Patriots. What's best for the Dolphins against the likely first-round opponent in the playoffs. And I
Right.
know these decisions are not easy. And I know Mike McDaniel cares about his players, and they got to lean on the doctors.
Yeah, and the screwed up part is,
it was reportedly a grade 2, which is a sort of a middle of the road.
mm-hmm.
You have the 1, 2, and 3, and this is reportedly a 2.
Okay. And the screwed up part is that if you look at it, you're playing a lesser defense this week. And to be quite honest, without Armstead, they gave Tua more than enough time to make his plays. And just Tua didn't make them. That's all.
Mm.
To me, it was all on Tua last week. He had a whole bunch of open guys that he normally hits, and he just did not hit them. And so you really look at it, you could probably get away in this game without him. If you really wanted to, you're not facing Bosa, bro. You're not facing a badass defensive line right now. They're not sacking people left and right at this point. You could actually coast through this game without Teron Armstead.
Yeah, Dolphins catch a break, obviously, with Joey Bosa not playing 1 week after Nick Bosa recorded 3 sacks. And those sacks were not really on the offensive line. There was a
Exactly. There you go.
stunt, there was a coverage sack, there was,
Two running backs. Give me a break. Come on,
the
dude.
running
That
back.
was
You're
just
right.
terrible
Yeah.
planning
Jeff
on their
Wilson
part. That was
Jeff
coaches
Wilson
putting as much as McDaniel put Tua in a position to succeed last week because his receivers were open, those routes were there, the throws were there. Well, I gotta say, Frank and Applebaum and McDaniel put their offensive line to fail on that play where you had Ingold and Wilson blocking Bosa. Come on, dude. I mean,
Yeah, and Jeff Wilson had a tough game. Listen, the Chargers have the worst defense in terms of allowing yards per rush in the NFL.
mhm.
5.4. So this is the game. Dolphins brought out Raheem Mostert to the media group here at UCLA yesterday, and I think it's for a reason. I think Mostert and Wilson are going to get touches, and the Dolphins are going to try to run the ball 25 times instead of 8. And they need to, and they should. That when you don't have at least the threat of the run, it really weakens what the offense is able to do overall. And I know it's true there were receivers open anyway. So, but you want to at least run the ball more than 8 times. They can't run the ball 8 times. And listen, I'm just trying to give you my gut feeling out here because I'm out here.
Mhm.
I love Teron Armstead, the person, and I love him, the player. And obviously, if he plays, I'll trust his decision and the decision of the trainers and doctors. My gut feeling is that I kind of hope maybe he doesn't play this week. That's just my personal gut feeling.
That's
My
fair, bro.
personal gut
That's
feeling,
fair.
and maybe target. Maybe just give it a little time. I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying I have the medical results and the scans and all that.
Are you staying at
And
a Holiday Inn right now? Are you at a Holiday Inn? Because then you're eligible to be a
yeah,
doctor.
I'm a Marriott
Oh,
person, lifetime,
oh.
lifetime platinum Marriott, million miler Delta.
I don't know. No, yeah, but I don't think Marriott makes you, into medicine. You got to be at a
True.
Holiday Inn. Yeah, a Holiday Inn allows you to be a doctor. It allows you to, if your girlfriend doesn't want to go, you take her friend. Those kind of things. All those kind of things are allowed with the Holiday Inn. But if you're not at a Holiday Inn, you're not allowed to do these kind of things. So you can't be a doctor, unfortunately, today. But by the way, all kidding aside, you are 100% right on the Teron Armstead thing because you're seeing exactly what I just told you. The line played well enough that you could probably give Tua more than enough time again this week against a lesser front without Teron Armstead. So this is not a game, believe it or not, that you desperately need Teron Armstead. Okay,
I guess
does
there's another.
it suck to play without him? Of course, but against that front seven that you're facing right now this week, you can get by without Teron Armstead. So you are correct, sir.
If you start Greg Little at left tackle, and he and Brandon Shell were fine last week. If you start Greg Little at left tackle, would you feel more comfortable with Eric Fisher dressing as your backup left tackle with being around for 3 days,
Kendall Lamb.
or Armstead as an emergency?
No, I
Neither.
want Kendall
Okay.
Lamb. I want Kendall Lamb. I don't want Eric Fisher, who's been out for months, almost a year.
A year.
I don't want Armstead because if I'm not going to start him, then I'm not going to put him at risk anyways as a backup. So then I'll keep him out. I'll just put Kendall Lamb, who's been now here for several weeks. He's in shape, and I can activate him for a week. I'm only going to need him probably to activate him this week, and then put him back on the practice squad. And then I'm going to elevate Fisher and Armstead next week for the Bills. And now I'm ready. Now I'm even better off for the Bills because now I've given Armstead another week of rest. And I don't have to play Armstead on a Sunday and then a Saturday with an injury. So now I've kept him out for a week, and I've given Fisher another week to get, acclimated and get in shape. And he's also a swing tackle, something that Kendall Lamb is, and he's more of a left tackle. So now what I do is I activate Fisher, and I have him take over, obviously, Austin Jackson's role. He's my swing guy. I start Shell and I start Armstead against the Bills, and I have Fisher ready to go just in case, or Fisher to help me out on short yardage with a 6 lineman just to kind of punch people in the mouth.
Eichenberg can come back as early as this week. I would stick with Rob Jones. You agree, right?
Oh, my God, yes.
Yeah.
And listen, I talked to a couple people in the building, and they swear on their freaking lives he was turning the corner the last 2 weeks. They're actually really bothered in the building by the injury because they felt he was ready to really take off.
Eichenberg.
Yes, and I did not see it, but they must know something I don't know. But when it came to pass protection, he couldn't have been any worse. The mistakes he would make in pass pro were unacceptable. And Tua doesn't need to take those kind of hits. And that's been, that's not something that's happened to the rest of the linemen.
I love that.
They've had those kind of breakdowns.
Ryan Clark's big prediction on ESPN's Get Up is Tua Tagovailoa bounces back versus Chargers. It doesn't matter if it's ESPN, ESPN2, NFL Network. All they talk about is Dolphins, 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 and I love it. It's great. Here we are in December. Tomorrow's my birthday, Big O. Gonna have a little
really?
birthday dinner
Wow, nice. Nice.
My 48th birthday. I'm almost as old as John Denny.
There you go. Hey, man, you're finally covering a sexy Dolphins team. That's the thing.
I just love that the Dolphins are relevant.
Been attractive. They haven't been
attractive.
I
hope the Dolphins are ready to meet the moment. I hope the Dolphins are ready to meet the moment.
I think they're definitely ready to meet the moment. I don't know if they're healthy enough to handle the moment at times, but I think they're more than ready to beat the team on Sunday. It's the Saturday one on the road. That's going to be the tough challenge. If they were healthy, I'd love the Dolphins in that game. If you give me Brandon Jones and Byron Jones and Nick Needham and Teron Armstead is fully healthy,
Everybody's got injuries. Everybody's got injuries. God.
Yeah, I know. But
everybody's got it. The Chargers got. Look at the Chargers injuries.
Yeah.
Joey Bosa, and they're missing their stud left tackle, right?
Yes.
Right,
he's out for the year.
All right.
No, I know.
So,
I know. I know.
I'm very proud of you, Big O. We've gotten very far. I don't have my clock, but we've gotten very far into the segment, and you haven't said Justin Herbert. I'm very proud of you.
Oh no!
Hey, by the
way,
let me show you the day off on Justin Herbert.
Let me show you a graph that came out. It's very. You saw it, huh? On third downs, you saw who's number 1 and you saw who's 21.
Unfortunately, it was 0 for 7 last week, but that was an aberration.
Right. Well, that's aberrations, whatever. But you saw who number 1 is, even with 0 for 7. It's Tua Tagovailoa. And you saw who's number 21? Come on, say it. Come on. I didn't say it.
Justin Herbert. Now, listen.
There you go. You mentioned it for the second time in this interview. Yeah, baby. Yeah.
Justin has not had a great season, but if you watch the tape, he's a talented quarterback now. He's a talented quarterback. It's interesting. I saw Dave Hyde. They had 7 out of 7 former or current NFL personnel executives and GMs said they would take Herbert over Tua. That one guy, Bill Barnwell at ESPN, did a redraft and put Tua ahead of Herbert and Jalen Hurts. Would you put Jalen? See, we don't bring Jalen.
No, I would not put Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts ahead of Tua in a redraft. A lot of people. It's a popular thing to say on TV.
Well, yeah, because the problem is a lot of the people on TV are just prisoners of the moment, or they're doing some fucking shtick, and that's the problem. Instead of actually just giving an opinion that you really believe in, no, let's just do stuff to stir things up. But there's no way you put Jalen Hurts in front of them. It's just because the Eagles are really good right now as a team, and Jalen Hurts has played absolutely terrific, but he is not the passer that those guys are, that Burrow, that Tua, that Herbert are. You know what I mean? Now, you know, I still need to see some of those clutch like moments for Herbert a little bit more, but I still would take Herbert over Hurts because Hurts still has to get over that hump of being a passer where he stays in the pocket and wins. The guys that have to run, Justin Fields, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, the guys that have to run in order to beat you, I always put those guys behind because look at where Lamar Jackson ranks on the what was it? Lamar Jackson is number 28, and Herbert's 21. But Lamar Jackson, why is he 28? Because he relies on his legs. He doesn't rely on his arm. And so that'll be my problem with Hurts and with Justin Fields. If those guys don't learn to beat people from the pocket, Joe, it's only a matter of time before somebody breaks them in half. You
He
know what I
appears
mean?
to be an improved passer. In college, I haven't
He
watched a
has.
lot of him in
He
the
has.
NFL, but in college, he
Yes.
was not a great passer.
Oh
He
no.
appears to be an improved
He
passer.
has.
Hey, every Friday morning, I send out an email to those who sign up for free. It's called the Dolphins Pulse newsletter. And in today's newsletter, and I encourage our viewers to sign up for it, just type in Palm Beach Post newsletters and then click down on Dolphins Pulse. It's free. And I just send you my thoughts on Friday morning. And this morning I wrote about my impressions of Tua and how he's doing a really nice job. He seems to me to be kind of relaxing in these press conferences, and he's doing a real nice. Just wanted to point that out, that I think he's in a good mental state and a good mental place entering this ball game, despite what happened last week, and that he's doing a nice job in these press conferences the last 4 or 5 times out, really, engaging with the reporters like me, looking us right in the eye, giving us more expansive answers. And so I just wanted to point that out from a news media journalism perspective to his press conferences, being a little more open. I think it's good. I think he's showing who he is behind the scenes a
Or he's
little bit more
allowed.
on camera. Yeah,
He's
okay.
allowed to show you who he is.
But you
So
got to do it too. So
he's not really in college under the whole structure of Saban and all that. And then he's obviously not with, Flo, who, come on, give me a break. You know what I'm saying? So this McDaniel
yeah,
allows people to be themselves. So
smiling, making jokes.
now you get to
Yeah,
now you actually get to talk to now you actually get to talk to football players who are allowed to be human beings. And this is why you get to learn and know Teron Armstead and why he's such a cool cat, or any of these other dudes. Even Javon Holland is, and he can be very dodgy of the tough questions, but he's a good dude. You can tell, and you get to see people for what they are. Jerome Baker will talk to you pretty openly and stuff. Without flow, it allows you to do your job and allows us to be able to read, much more colorful articles compared to the boring ass, black and white crap that you had to write, that it was either
yeah.
or, and there was no perspective, there was no personality to it or anything. It was just lame, bro, what you were covering before. It's not your fault. It's just the environment.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if your viewers care about this, but I just on a personal note, when I was telling Teron Armstead about my eye situation with the eye surgeries and the retinas and everything, he was really genuinely, sincerely interested and empathetic and wanted to learn more. And I really appreciated that. He's a good
Sure.
dude. I want the viewers to know this guy's a good player and a really good person.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, that was known about Teron Armstead. His only knock is staying healthy, bro. That's only been the knock on him. That's the reason why people stay with him, because he's a character human being. On top of all of that, it was while I know his wife was a big old question mark. But when Brent was here and when they signed him with the Achilles, and people were worried, I said, you don't have to worry about that guy. He'll come back because he's a pro's pro. He takes his job serious. And there's just some guys you can trust because they're going to be professionals all the way through. And he was one of those guys. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm with you there. All right, what's the prediction? What happens on Sunday night?
Our Wi-Fi connection is getting a little. Yeah, I hope you
Oh,
can hear me. Our Wi-Fi connection is a little unstable. It could be on my end. Hard to know.
yeah, it
Can you
probably
hear
is.
me? I do think the Dolphins are going to win on Sunday, and I do think Tua Tagovailoa is going to bounce back.
Okay. All right. All right. So Joe has got him winning and Tua bouncing back. I like it. You are kind of freezing. Joe, go enjoy the weekend. We will talk to you post game Sunday night. Follow him on Twitter at Schad Joe and make sure you subscribe to the Palm Beach Post. He is frozen. There he is. Joe, go off and
Thanks, my
get
guy.
into some hijinks. All right. We love you.
All
There you
right,
go.
take care, buddy.
You got it. The great Joe Schad. Down the stretch freezing, but we love them. And by the way, go to Hijinks. It's right there in Meisner Boulevard. All right, right there where the amphitheater is. It's right down the street right there, man. And let me tell you, it is the best looking sports bar in South Florida. Okay, the waitresses there and the bartenders are either current or former Dolphin cheerleaders. I am telling you, it is the most beautiful sports bar you will ever see because you're like, wow, wow, and wow. Okay. Great food on top of all of that. They've got TVs everywhere. It's a really great neighborhood bar. They've got tables on the outside too. So if you want to sit outside in beautiful Boca and right there on Meisner Boulevard and watch the beautiful cars drive by and relax and enjoy, you can do that if you're going out for a concert or something, or if you want to go Sunday night to watch the games. You want to watch Sunday games, or if you want to go for the Dolphins game, go to Hijinks, man. Check it out. So if you're in the Boca Palm Beach area and you want to see what the most beautiful bar looks like, by the way, if you don't believe me, go to Hijinks Sports Grill on Instagram. That's all you need to do. Just go to Hijinks Sports Grill on Instagram. You might want to follow that account because that's an account that is, the kind of beauty you want to follow. So that is your Hijinks Sports Grill Miami Dolphins report.
Dolphins.
This is the Big O Show. This is the